What's a conspiracy theory that you can make up, but sounds convincing? The readership of Cosmo is single women. Right? So Cosmo intentionally gives awful dating advice to keep their readership single. And buying Cosmo. 95% of conspiracy theorists are professional trolls paid by the U.S. government to muddy the waters and throw the general public off about what the real conspiracies are. How does Christian Bale transform his body from extremely skinny to superhero buff back to skinny in just months? It's not diet and exercise. He has an emaciated twin brother he keeps hidden away who fills in for roles requiring a skinny Christian Bale. They each share one life. Christopher Nolan tried to hint at this in the documentary The Prestige. Stephen Hawking has actually been a brain-dead vegetable for years. Ever since he lost his ability to speak. In reality, a team of discredited scientists use him as a mouthpiece for hypotheses that are too controversial to be presented by less renowned scientists. Swiper and the map are in cahoots. Wake up, people. First off, listen to their voices. Practically identical. Second, how does Swiper always know where Dora will be? Well, who is telling her where to go? Fucking map is bought and paid for by that sneaky fox. There is no North Korea. The country isn't real. And Kim Jong-un is an actor. First world nations secretly decided long ago that their citizens would be more compliant with their corporation-owned governments if they had a supremely negative human experience to compare to their own. So citizens of developed nations feel like their problems pale in comparison. And developed nations can use North Korea's harmless threats to boost patriotism in their countries. I mean, do you know anyone who's been to North Korea? Oh, I know what you're thinking. North Korea heavily restricts visitors to their country. And where did you learn that piece of information? Your country's media outlets? The ones that you already know are used by the government to spread the information they want you to hear? Right. Edit. HMMMMM. If you look through the replies to this post, you'll see that quite a few people have commented claiming they have been to North Korea or know someone who has been to North Korea. Kind of suspicious. Right? Barely anyone goes to North Korea, I thought. Who are all these people? And more importantly, how much are they getting paid by the world governments to spread their lies? Asterisk. Reddit mods are paid by corporations to delete certain content. I know this is convincing, because users accuse us of it every day. The Top Gear hosts are actually working for MI6 to destabilize foreign governments. For their Middle East special they traveled through Syria. Not much longer after that the civil war starts. They traveled through near Egypt on the special when they search for the source of the Nile. They traveled through Crimea just last year and actually were in Kiev for the Maidan protests. A bit too coincidental if you ask me. Plus James May is practically James Bond anyway. Edit. Been a while since I watched the Africa special. But I guess they never actually made it to Egypt. That being said, I'm sure they could have easily dispatched the Stig's African cousin to raise hell in Egypt. Mormons don't eat ketchup. Not a conspiracy per se, but more of a rumor I like to spread around. People always believe it. China does not want Taiwan. They claim they do and start making threats every few years so the Taiwanese freak out and buy super expensive military hardware from the US. The US, in turn, shares some of the profits of those sales with China. Repeat every 5 to 6 years. Edit. We don't sell our top of the line stuff to Taiwan. We give them dated equipment at a discount. Some of the items we sell will intentionally fail so as when China gets its hands on it to copy it, they copy the problems as well. Edit 2. I used to work with a few people from Taiwan. When I asked about the problems with China, 2 of them said we are Chinese. This is all crap used for politics. Double quote. The Jews are something something. Delaware isn't really a state. It's just a made up place for people in witness protection programs to say they're from. Witness protection doesn't exist. Instead of changing their names and giving them a new place to love, the government simply waits until witnesses are done testifying. then shoots them and disposes of the bodies. Saves millions of dollars and looks successful as the witnesses are never found. John McCain picked Sarah Palin on purpose because he saw the downfall of the Republican Party and wanted to speed it along by propelling her and the Tea Party to the front. He wants this because he is a smart guy and realizes that the country will benefit if we have functional parties instead of a divided nation. Selfies were made popular by the Gov to help build the facial recognition database. Most electronics made in the past 15 years have a program built into them that has a 7-digit, randomly generated kill number each time the device is used. RNG chooses a random 7-digit number. If your device's number is picked, something in it shorts or breaks, thusly ensuring that you have to replace the item within 2 years of purchase. Couple this with 2-year cell phone contracts and you see a huge money tree. This practice is mostly used in the cell phone industry, but has become more and more rampant in laptops, tablets and microwaves. Edit. Yes, I know of planned obsolescence. I am explaining how they have built the devices to fail to ensure this. Every product in the seasoning aisle is made by a single company, and most of them contain the same ingredients. This is done so that those wanting a cheaper product buy it, and so do those who are more discerning. Customers swear they can taste the difference, but unfortunately it's just the power of packaging and marketing. There have been cases in the past of others trying to get an elbow into the seasoning and spice market, but you never hear of them because they are not allowed to have shelf space in major chains. It's a monopoly that's gone unchallenged for over 40 years now. The porn star name game, where you figure out your porn name using your first pet's name and street you grew up on, was actually created as a trick to get security answers to your accounts. Edit. You have some great porn names, Reddit. Have you tried actor/actress name game, your father's middle name and mother's maiden name? Just kidding. Don't tell us that. Close bracket. Reddit accounts like Wayfarer and Sticklyman that seem to never miss a thread and have a bazillion karma are actually owned by several different people in different time zones around the world. This is so they can constantly post content, while still upkeeping social lives that generate stories they can tell on Reddit for more karma. It's a never-ending cycle. Edit. Banana5 is also in on the scheme. Edit 2. Thanks to you big uptake I corrected my spelling of Wayfarer. Edit 3. I really want to make a shared account now. College is a scam. It's a way to keep young people off the unemployment rolls and create the illusion the job marketplace is more robust than it is in reality. The vast majority of what you learn is useless theoretical information you won't even use on the job, but that degree is required because the hiring manager had to suffer through 4 to 8 years of higher education and expects all those beneath him to do so as well. In 1786, Daniel Shays was hired by the organizers of the U.S. Constitutional Convention to start what would become known as Shays Rebellion. http://n Wikipedia.org Wiki Shays Rebellion. The convention was originally supposed to simply revise the existing Articles of Confederation, but James Madison and Alexander Hamilton, among others, wanted to use the convention to create an entirely new government. The difficulty in quelling the rebellion cemented the belief that the federal government was too weak and made many Americans more open to the idea of drafting a completely new constitution. Some supporting evidence: nearly all of the 4,000 rebels were pardoned. Of the 18 men sentenced to die, Shays included, all but 2 had their death sentences pardoned. The 2 that were executed were probably threatening to talk. The secret recipe for Bush's baked beans is actually golden retriever meat. That's why the dog wants to reveal the recipe, but that guy in the polo always stops him. Rob Schneider goes down to Home Depot and pays migrant workers to go to his house and choke him in the shower. Whenever you get lag or slow internet, the NSA had to censor some of the information that is being received into your computer. David Grohl killed Kurt Cobain. Being a talented singer was David's dream. He had the pipes, the lyrics, the image, everything. Then he met Kurt and became a member of Nirvana. Kurt knew David could sing, even out-sing himself. So to protect his image, he placed David on the drums, giving David empty promises he will get a chance to sing his song on the next album, or the next. Full stop. Full stop. David was getting irritated by Kurt, getting jerked around by some white boy. Kurt denied his singing one too many times, and David snapped. Now Kurt is 6 feet below ground. David suddenly becomes a world-known singer in his own band, the Foo Fighters. Who is Foo? And why are they fighting it? Maybe Foo is fighting those who try to keep you away from your dreams. Full stop. Full stop. Full stop. Keanu Reeves is actually Jesus returned. He became an actor to spread the word efficiently and to touch as many people as possible. He's had terrible things happen to him as the devil is trying to turn him to the dark side. Mars was colonized by the 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council, USA, UK, France, Russia and China, some 30 years ago. But they all signed a pact to not make it public. Did you really think that after landing on the moon, humanity would spend 45+ years doing nothing? Hot dogs are sold in packs of 10 while their buns are sold in packs of 8. You have to buy 4 packs of hot dogs to 5 packs of buns to have enough. I suspect that Big Barbecue has control of the packaging for these to specifically entice you into buying more. The HIV test gives you HIV. You walk into the hospital feeling sick. Or you passed out and you wake up in the hospital, only this time you wake up with HIV. No one had HIV before they got tested for it. Ah yes. Screening as STD. Edit. To the gold giver. Thanks for your generosity and for helping to run Reddit servers. Same one I always say. That the government is secretly pushing game developers to make war shooters like COD and Battlefield and market them to kids. So that in several years' time when we piss off every other nation in the world, those children who grew up on war games will have a skewed idea of war. Think it'll be awesome. And sign up. That way they can't keep it a volunteer army but brainwash impressionable minds into signing up without knowing the real horrors of war. And someone pointed out to me that this wouldn't work because of all the out of shape loner kids who play the games. But that's what boot camp and training are for. Because in a positive aspect, they'll chop down on national obesity by getting those boys and girls in shape to fight. Our educational system has been systematically disassembled, watered down and sabotaged because the gov doesn't want an educated population. Educated people are harder to manage. That this entire thread was created by Matt Stone and Trey Parker so they could get new material for the next season of South Park. How about as a compromise to the moon landing conspiracies? America did go to the moon but realized how humiliating and point defeating it would be if Armstrong took his first step and tripped or something. So they did go to the moon but decided to fake the film and broadcasted that. GoPro cameras are a government plot to get people used to filming their entire life. They sell it as an idea of look at the cool shit you get on film when wearing a GoPro. The shark video comes to mind as one. The skydiving another. But in reality they called the company GoPro because it's a government PR organ to instill the notion that surveillance is a normal part of your daily life. We've already colonized Mars but because it's so much better only so many people are allowed to immigrate there in secret and never return. Broccoli is actually a genetically modified vegetable created by scientists via a crossbreed between cauliflower and spinach, in an attempt to find the super vegetable. In order for the Coca-Cola company to change the original classic formula so that they could use high fructose corn syrup instead of cane sugar in Coca-Cola without anyone noticing the change in taste, they needed a months-long distraction. New Coke. JFK hired a man to kill his wife. He didn't count on that man having such bad aim. All the world's governments are controlled by one entity. We don't know this because if the general population is divided we're easier to control. Every time you walk into a room and forget what you are doing, It's because God is playing The Sims and he just cancelled your action. This whole ISIS thing is just a viral marketing campaign for the new season of Archer. There's a secret government agency which uses AskReddit to come up with its project plans but disguises them as conspiracy theories. Jessica Fletcher is the real killer in every single episode of Murder, She Wrote. Think about it, every small town she goes to, someone is killed within hours of her arrival. She then uses her impeccable imagination from writing books to create a backstory to frame innocent locals, when in reality she's a mass murderer that would make Jack the Ripper seem like Gandhi. The Westboro Baptist Church is actually in favor of gay marriage. They pretend to be vehemently against it because they know it will make people disagree with them. Think about it. If it weren't for the Westboro Baptist Church, there wouldn't be nearly as many gay rights supporters as there are now. Shaving cream stimulates your hair and makes it grow faster, resulting in you having to purchase shaving cream more frequently. Before using shaving cream, I only needed to shave once every 3 days. Since I started, I've been having to do it every freaking day. Time Winner ousted Donald Sterling for the company's benefit. Time Winner owns TMZ, which leaked the story that was obtained illegally. Time Winner has over $1 billion invested into the crosstown rival Lakers. The new interim CEO for the Clippers is the former CEO of Time Warner. Big Pharma paid Jenny McCarthy to do her crazy autism vaccination shit, so that anytime anyone raised a legitimate concern against the health implications of vaccinations, they'd be laughed at. That cutting onions doesn't make you cry. It's simply a social stigma, combined with a worldwide placebo effect. You were told cutting onions made you cry before you learned to cook. Therefore your eyes are cognitively wired to obey this subconscious reflex. Country music, much like rap, is a socio-economic tool of manipulation. While rap keeps urban black men from upward mobility, country music maintains the status quo in agriculture. It manufactures an identity for farmers and blue-collar types to ensure that America continues to have a steady base of these kinds of workers, preventing even more dependence on foreign imports for foodstuffs and skilled labor.